We got football, baby. We got football, baby. And listen, listen. No foreplay here. Not gonna kiss your neck, BK. Not gonna run my fingers through your glorious hair, Steve. And by the way, I do want to say, I guess we'll do a little foreplay here, Steve. I stand corrected. Steve got a haircut, and he got a haircut, and I see Steve on this on a nightly basis, and I'm like, Steve, your shit looks like it did before. That doesn't really see a lot. Me and Steve did go and have beers. We had a show meeting without you. We went and grabbed beers last week, and I sat right beside him. You can really see it. That haircut's coming through. It really is. Without the headphones and in person, it looks strong. It's a good look.
I'm not surprised to hear that. That has not in the least been surprising to some of us on this show.
It was just a trim, and then the first thing Ron said to me was like, "All right, the hair looks better in person than it does."
It looks better. It did. It looks better in person. It did. Okay, that's all the foreplay I'm giving because I ran my fingers through your hair. So my man, listen, we've been doing this show. I don't know how long we've been doing this show. What, 4 years?
I moved into my house like the same week that we started this show, so it's been 4 years now. 4 and a half
years. Okay, we've been doing this show 4 years, and he gets my ass every year. Hey guys, first preseason game, Mahomes and the ones, and particularly Mahomes. I say he's gonna play a quarter. And you know what? I come on here every time, and I say, why? I don't need to see him. I make a big stuff. We get 8 good minutes out of no. And then Steve slides in. They're not going to play that long. He does this every year. He does it. No, he's saying he's going to play him. Like this first year without Tyreek Hill, they're probably going to do it. No, I don't know, man. His ass plays a drive every single time. Every time. And so I am not going to be tricked this time. Andy, not going to blow a gasket. All right? I know what you're doing. I know this little lie that you put a quarter up there. I don't know why you're lying. I don't know why you say a quarter, but they're not playing a quarter. They're going to play a drive. And I'm good, fellas. I am not going to fall for your little tricks, Andy and Tammy. Is that his wife's name? It starts with a T. I don't know if it's
I think
Tammy.
That's right.
I think it is Tammy. Tammy. Tam. I'm not falling for your little tricks. Don't get me this time. I am good for this drive.
You know what's funny, Ron? I don't think Mahomes needs to play more than like a snap. Honestly, like just literally get ready for the game. Don't even go out there. I'd be fine with it. Just get Minshew in there. Same thing for Kelsey. Basically, every other player, this is the first year in a while where I'd be like, I would probably be okay with the first team offense not named Mahomes and Kelsey to be out there for a quarter.
Seriously. Now, when you say that, the offensive line, I definitely like all of them. I know Sexy Creed is the best center in football, and he's been there a while. And Trey Smith is now the highest paid interior offensive lineman in football, and he's veteran status and been there a while. But I think that group is such a big point of this team right now, and there's such newness with the exception of those two. We'll see what the right tackle situation is with Jawan Taylor, but we know that left side is youth. That's Kingsley. They got a start between a start and a half between the two of them, between Kingsley and Josh over there. And I could see a quarter from that O-line. That I could do that.
That's my thing, man. Like you look at it, and whether it's the communication or like I don't know where Jawan Taylor is on the depth chart right now. If he is truly the one, all right, then can we have a drive with Kingsley and Josh Simmons, and then can we have a drive with Jalen Moore and Josh Simmons, and then can we have another drive where it's Trey Smith lining up with right tackle Jalen Moore? Because I don't know where he's most likely to play on opening night, or if he's going to play on opening night. But I do want him to get reps with this first unit because, dude, you know how this is, Ron. Offensive line is so communication based. It is so much about, do you have chemistry with the guy that is standing next to you? And if the answer to that is no, and we've seen some of these videos coming out of Simmons and Suamataia having some issues with some of the stunts that they're going up against, which is natural. They're both extremely young and at new spots in a new offense in a new situation. It's normal that they're struggling with that right now. Get reps. That's the only way that you're going to get better with this first string offensive line is to continue to get reps. So last year, I looked it up because I was curious how often Kingsley Suamataia, how many snaps he got in that first game. Do you know what it was, Ron? How many snaps Kingsley got in his first opportunity, first preseason game with the Chiefs?
Oh, preseason? Oh, what? 4?
6.
5?
Close. I was going for it. It was 6. 6 snaps in his first game. I would like to see a lot more than Simmons, Suamataia, Moore. Those guys, if they could get like 20, I would be feeling pretty good about that in this game.
20, huh?
If that means if it takes a few different drives to get there, I'm okay with that. Normally, I'm the one that would argue against it. This year, you have so much new on the offensive side of the ball and so many guys that are working back from something. I'd like to see them get back to something resembling 100%.
No, I don't think that's. I'm wondering in my mind. I'm thinking, well, Creed and Trey, do they need it? But I think them together, they need it. Everyone else, and I guess I don't know. We'll see what's up with Juwan Taylor and his knee and how he's going. But everybody else, like they need to get time together and time with live bullets, which is different.
I do think like the Kingsley lack of play time last year in the preseason was a product of like, they're like, oh, he's our starter. And so they treated him as a starter instead of a young player that just needed more reps and more chances to like get better at the NFL level. And I don't know, maybe Josh Simmons is really like such an impressive player and like rookie tackle that they don't need to see that. But Kingsley better be in there at left guard playing a shitload on Saturday because it seems like they are assuming he is going to be the starting left guard, but there's still some question and some possible doubt as to whether or not they truly believe he is like their bona fide starting left guard. So leave him out there because once he got benched last season, he didn't get back on the field all that much.
And he played tackle.
Yeah, like more than any other offensive lineman, he needs the reps on Saturday more than anybody else.
Yeah, but Josh too, though, because I think it's not just the personal reps. I think they need the reps together. And even now if it's Juwan Taylor and that side, I don't know that's different. They've played together for the last 2 years, 3 years, or whatever, but. That other group, they need work. They need work, and they need work together, right? And I don't know if the Cardinals are going to do any stunts or do anything that way. I'm not sure. That's why coaches love to have the joint practices so they can specifically work on things like that. So we'll see. That I'm guessing the Cardinals are going to be pretty vanilla too. So, but still, passing things off, communicating. They definitely need that. Let me ask you this, fellas. What do you want the offensive line to be week 1 in Brazil? What do you want it to be?
So you're asking like in a best case scenario, what do I think is best?
What do you want?
We talked about this a little bit last week. I'm really curious your thoughts, Ron. My ideal scenario is Simmons, Suamataia, Humphrey, Trey Smith, and right tackle I go back and forth on. I think the ideal scenario is that Jalen Moore wins that job, but Jalen Moore also provides you a ton of flexibility if he's your 6th offensive lineman, because it seems as though they feel comfortable with him at 4 different spots on the O-line. So I could see how if it's like tie between him and Juwan Taylor, A, Taylor's more expensive, and B, you have more flexibility with Moore as that 6th offensive lineman. So I can see how you get yourself there. But those 4 I'm pretty confident are my ideal scenario. Simmons, Suamataia, Humphrey, and Trey. And then right tackle I go back and forth on.
Yeah. I think that's where I'm at too. I tend to believe that it's just going to be Juwan Taylor because of his experience with the Chiefs. Like he talked about this past week, playing through a meniscus tear last season and like sacrificing his body because he felt like he couldn't go down and things like that. And I think the Chiefs, like, despite what fans seem to think about Jawan Taylor, like, the Chiefs as an organization like and respect Jawan Taylor. Like, I think this flip-flopping between him and Jalen Moore thing is more just, like Jalen Moore getting reps at right tackle because last season he was playing at left tackle, filling in for Trent Williams. And so now it's like getting him experience and exposure at right tackle, like BK said, to just be this hyper versatile backup offensive lineman for them. And so I'm not necessarily buying into the idea that there's a legitimate camp battle going on at right tackle right now. Like, I think Jawan Taylor is just going to be the Chiefs starter. So I think I'm fine with him or Jalen Moore on the right side, but I think everybody else that BK said is the ideal scenario for the Chiefs in week 1.
Yeah, I'm glad. I think we're all clear on the 4. There's some who like Jalen Moore at the left guard or the right guard, left guard spot where he's been getting some there. I'd like to see Kingsley there. And I'm glad we're out of the conversation of the Frank Caliendo thing. I'm glad that's done. I've never been the same since I've seen Frank or Mike, whichever one it was.
Mike, damn it.
I don't know which one it was. It was Mike. I think it was. I'm going to say it was Frank Caliendo when he got picked up by that Buffalo Bill in the middle of the fourth quarter and just thrown for a sack. But I'm glad that he's separated himself from him. I tend to agree, Serda, that I think that Jawan Taylor is going, if it's close or tight, I think Jawan Taylor is going to get that spot for a couple of reasons. One, I think if it's tight, Jalen Moore is probably under the impression that being the swing tackle, the 6th offensive lineman, was something that was definitely in the cards for year 1. And I also think that maybe Jalen Moore, to me, is somebody who would accept and take not starting right away at right tackle better than maybe the guy, Jawan Taylor, who's been the starter the last several years and thinks maybe he just lost his job due to injury. And with the amount of money that Jawan Taylor is making this year as well, to just have $20 million or whatever just sitting on the bench, I wonder. But for me personally, I am ready to hand it over to Jalen Moore. I think Jawan Taylor started off poorly last year, probably the year before. But I do think he probably closed pretty well, especially being injured. And he did pretty well, but I feel like he's just okay. And he's just okay. And with him just being okay, it also comes with a bunch of penalties. And he kills drives at times with penalties and, missing assignments, holds, false starts. We all know about how well documented it is about the procedure penalties he gets because he doesn't line up on the line of scrimmage. I'm just kind of over just okay and wanting to see if Jalen Moore can at least be that without the penalties. So for me, that is my deal. Is I'm ready to hand this thing over to old Jalen Moore. Personally, I don't think it's going to happen this year, but I'm ready to.
I get all of that. I do want to say, like, the one thing that I hesitate on with this is just I don't want to overlook the value of average right tackle play because we've seen how bad left tackle play can be. And I truly don't know if Jalen Moore's good. Like, I don't know if we have an answer on that. So there's very much not a guarantee that Jalen Moore comes in and outproduces what we have seen previously from Jawan Taylor. And that's my hesitance, Ron. It's just, I think the biggest thing for the Chiefs this year on the offensive line is to getting back to respectability. Just get back to some level of competence. And that's what they lost last year. It wasn't that they lost like an elite level of play. They just sunk to such a level that they couldn't overcome it. And that's my fear at left guard this year, if I'm being honest. Like, I am a little fearful with the Kingsley thing. I think he should be the left guard if he's earned it. But you can't just hand it to him. If this guy's not as good as Jalen Moore at the left guard spot, Jalen Moore should be your starting left guard on opening night. You know, like,
yeah.
I think there are a lot of different combinations still that could end up being put into effect. And this is why, like you mentioned, you think Kingsley needs to get all these reps with Josh Simmons. I'm totally with you. I think that's necessary. One thing that I would really consider, though, for this game, I don't think that's something they'll do, but what I would consider starting Jalen Moore at left guard in the first quarter. And on that first drive, it's Simmons, Moore, Humphrey, starting from left to the center. And then on that second drive, and then having Jawan Taylor as a starting right tackle for that drive. That second drive, I think it's pretty clear Taylor's still kind of working through his knee thing. Bump Moore over to the right tackle spot, bring in Kingsley, and have that full group in there for the next drive together, with it being Simmons, Suamata-Ia, Humphrey Smith, and then Jalen Moore, and then get a couple of drives like that. That is something that I would consider. I don't think they will, but that just allows you to get Taylor out of the game early, which seems to be kind of a priority right now. And it allows you to get some snaps for Jalen Moore at left guard, which I do think is important.
Who else? Go ahead, Steve.
I was just going to say, I feel like we'll see Jalen Moore play multiple spots on Saturday. Like, I think that's going to happen. I think he's going to shift around the line.
I definitely think we're going to see it through the preseason. Multiple games. He may play one game at right tackle, one game at left guard. I think left tackle. I think we'll see a little bit of that. Anybody else? Who else? Because, I mean, I know he's talking about they're going to play a quarter of the starters. I mean, I don't need to see Mahomes. I don't need to see Kelsey. I don't need to see Chris Jones. I don't need to see Trent McDuffie. I don't need to see Nick Bolton. I don't need to see any of those cats.
We're not going to see Rasheed or Hollywood, and we better not see a snap of Hollywood in the preseason. I'm going to be – he's already dealing – I remember when he hurt this ankle a couple weeks ago, and Jordan Schultz was like, oh, it's not even a big deal. He'll be back at practice in 2 days. Hasn't practiced in 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's just chilling.
I think there's something to that. Did you guys hear the comments the other day from God, who was it that made it? One of the coaches who was basically saying it sure sounded like he had a little stank on the fact that Hollywood is not out there right now. I do wonder if maybe there's some frustration among the coaching staff. They're never going to there's nothing you can do about it. But I think they know, like, hey, it's probably time to get back out there at this point. And Hollywood is probably saying, like, yeah, I remember how this went a year ago. I think I'm good. I'm just going to chill. I'll be ready to go for week 1 for you guys.
Yeah, I'm not concerned overly with that, but I don't need to see him that much. But is there anybody you do that you are into and hopeful to see?
Yeah. What is Omar Norman Lott? Because I don't have an answer to that just yet. I feel pretty good about, like, Ashton Gelati is an effort-based defensive end. Noel Williams is seemingly just Josh Williams' like younger brother, basically. Like, it seems like it's going to be a little bit of it's going to take a little bit of time before he really locks it in and becomes a player that they can expect to get consistent starts. So, like, I think we have a pretty good idea on a decent number of these rookies, kind of what they can bring to the table. I don't know on Omar Norman Lott what we can genuinely expect from him this year, but he's getting reps with the ones at training camp. That's not nothing, given the fact that they have a defensive coordinator that hates playing young players, especially rookies at this point in the season. He's shown some flashes according to the people that are there, but I've seen, like, no video of anything that he's done thus far. Like, we're seeing all these videos of so many different guys. Josh Simmons seems like there's a new one out every day. We saw a new video of Xavier Worthy, and it was like the 12th one that I've seen so far this year. I've seen none of them for Omar Norman Lott. So I just want to see what he is, what we can expect out of him. He is the guy that maybe more than anybody else, I'm just anxious to see what he looks like on the football field in a Chiefs uniform, because I don't have a good grasp on that right now.
Yeah, he fits. He seems to fit the part of what they're trying to get, which is penetration guys that go up. At least I don't know how much he's shown in camp. It feels like the buzz, if that's what you want to call it, is almost based about what they're hopeful for him to be, and potentially what they think they can see or get. and again, we got to remember, like that is like defensive tackle is one of the toughest positions for rookies to break in and have an impact. Like it is one of the toughest ones because you're going up against college players to grown men who know what they're doing immediately in the inside, and many times you're double teamed. It's not an easy route, but if he can give penetration and pass rush ability, and that's what I feel like they're seeing the potential of, and that's where Buzz is potentially coming from.
Yeah, and I do think it helps that remember all those years that Chris Jones just didn't give a damn about the run. And
Have those years stopped?
I think he's gotten better in recent years at it. I think he's a more well-rounded overall player than he used to be, and he's not just simply trying to rush the passer. But I really think that's what they want from Omar Norman-Lott is they just want some explosiveness from the interior to take pressure off of Chris Jones. And it's valuable to have a run stuffing defensive lineman on the interior, but the Chiefs already have guys that are good at that. Like Charles Omena, who's a really good run defensive lineman. Mike Dana is solid. George Karlaftis is good at that. And so it's and if Chris Jones gives you a decent effort at that, and he gets some of these double teams aren't on him anymore. If Omar Norman-Lott can just give you more juice on the interior, I think that's going to be great. So he's definitely going to be somebody I'm paying close attention to. And then I think really I don't need to see Pacheco on Saturday. As far as the running backs go, it's going to be about, I think week 1 of the preseason to me is much more just about the rookies, and seeing what they look like in live game action. And so I'm going to be paying attention to Jeff Bassa and Ashton Gelati and Omar Norman-Lott, Noel Williams, Brashard Smith, and Jalen Royals. I'm just going to be locked in on those guys for most of the game in all likelihood, because I expect all of them to get a fair amount of reps against the Cardinals.
You're going to be locked and loaded, aren't you? Look at you. God, man, the first name you led off with was that linebacker from Florida. What's his name? Bostic? What's his name? That who you led off with? Bostic? I mean, that's the first name you led off with?
Isn't he from Oregon?
Yes.
Or Oregon. What I say, Florida? Oregon, Florida. That's how much I care.
He spoke to the media last week, and
of all the rookies, that's the one you let off with.
The Chiefs are thin in the linebacker.
That's what I was about to say.
Got a bad back.
Ron, we can't watch any more Jack Cochran. This is our chance.
I love Jack. He's got that 40 number. I love
Come
Jack.
on, man. This is our one chance to have somebody that has a little bit of juice at the linebacker position that is backing up the 3 starters that we know are going to play with regularity. And Serda mentioned it. Dude, Tranquil had some kind of a back issue.
Yeah.
He's 30 years old. He lost a step last year. They're going to need somebody to serve as a depth linebacker for him this year. And our options seem to be Jeffrey Bassa, Jack Cochran, or maybe Shamari Connor. And I don't know who else can play the position.
Yeah. But he was just, and I remember him coming out. He was so undersized. That was the thing for me at the linebacker spot. Was he 225?
He's a converted safety.
Yeah. I was going to say he was so undersized. I don't know. I hope Drew Tranquil is all right. I understand he has the back. And did he came back like Fulton did, right?
He came back on Thursday.
Yeah, I don't know he's been in pads playing yet, but he came back. No, I mean I'll let you guys hold on to the Norman-Lott. I'm with you on. Maybe Royals. That sounds like fun too. Obviously Simmons. Now you start to lose me, and that's why we leave it up to you, Steve and BK, to really hone in on those other fellas that I'm good on.
Can I give you one more? And this might take us into our next conversation, Ron.
Okay.
Is anybody else falling for it? because we did it last week. We had kind of a check-in on the Tyquan Thornton situation, and I was
You
still
always have one. You always have one. In that last year, it was Remigio who you finally got.
I was about that's a win. I'm counting that as a win.
We won't speak about Sky, but I mean, we like the other. You always have one just lying in the weeds, and this one you have mentioned Tyquan Thornton on a couple of occasions, and now yes, I am not surprised at all. Of is he something?
So I want to know what he is. Kind of like the Omar Norman lot situation. I'm not for or against the player. I don't know what the player is, so I can't have a firm opinion on him right now. Thornton's kind of the same thing. He was in such a crap situation with the New England Patriots. It did not work out for him there. It was an absolute disaster of like a top 100 pick. But now he's in a better situation. He seems to be showing out at camp thus far, but we see this all the time where guys with his skill set can have some success at training camp. I've seen this with Justin Ross. We saw it with others in the past as well. Like Bobby Scipio is one that immediately comes to mind from way back in the day. I don't want to fall for another camp like darling, right? But what if he could be basically for this offense what Marquez Valdez-Scantling or what Justin Watson or what Demarcus Robinson were, which is basically just, hey, have a long torso, run fast down the field, and catch the ball when Patrick Mahomes throws it to you. Like, can he, well, for MVS, occasionally catch the ball, especially in the biggest possible moments. Can he do that? Can he be that for this offense? Because they're lacking it currently. They don't really have anybody with size outside of Rashee Rice, and Rashee is a slot receiver. So if he can be a 6'2", 200-pound outside wide receiver that had a 4.28, I think 40 when he came out of college, that would be something of use for this offense that they're lacking right now. So I just want to see what it looks like with him and Patrick Mahomes. And I think he's going to get reps with Mahomes in this first preseason game because they have so many receivers that are going to be out.
Yeah, and he has been getting reps with him, right? Like he has been. We'll see. Between him and Royals, we'll see. He has. I mean, for God's sakes, I'm certain. Let me look again. I think I saw this earlier today. Yeah, he's on the cover of ESPN. Like it is him catching a pass and running with the ball, talking about who are stars of training camp, and Tyquan Thornton's one of them. I mean, listen, yeah, they don't have the size, big, deep threat guy, tall guy over there. Right now, we'll see how many snaps that means. Is he taking snaps from people, or is this when they're running with 4 receivers? We'll see if Hollywood Brown is playing 17 games and Worthy's playing 17 games. Now maybe there is more of a chance of that depending on what happens with Rashee Rice if he's suspended. My thing is are the snaps there? Are we sure he's making the team?
I think.
By the way,
I think the return spot I think is totally up in the air. So I think that's an avenue for him to make the team. But I think the Chiefs have been really impressed with him in training camp.
He's been really good.
I would prefer he make the team over Sky Moore, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it basically comes down to, are they keeping 6 or 7 receivers this year? Because it seems like they might end up having to take 4 tight ends. It's like Kelsey, Gray. If your guy Wiley is going to make this roster, they probably need him to keep 4 because Tanyan's kind of been showing out so far in training camp as well. So if they end up going with 4 tight ends, that might remove one of the slots that we otherwise would have expected at the receiver position. With Rashee getting suspended early on, we assume, that means there's probably one spot because Worthy's making the team, Hollywood, Juju, Royals, Remigio. I think those guys are probably locks. And then it becomes Sky versus Tyquan Thornton for that final spot potentially on the roster.
And I'm not sold Nico is a lock. Like, I think there's
bite your tongue.
Tyquan Thornton could make the roster over him. And then they try to revert Nico back to the practice squad or something like that.
He won't make it. He won't make it this year. They won't be able to keep him. That would be a disaster, an absolute disaster.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Tyquan Thornton just seems to have the ability to do more. What he's done in camp, I mean, you can argue he's been one of the top 3 receivers in camp for them. I'm just talking about what he's done and shown in camp, where he is forcing his way on the field with Mahomes, right? And doing that. Now he has. I want to make sure to know he's been the second best player in camp and at the receiver position, because that son of a bitch Xavier Worthy, who what is today? This is Thursday, August 7th. We're recording this. Earlier today at that practice, I mean, he's making highlight plays, doing stuff just on a day-to-day basis. And this one, he goes up over big-ass Jalen Watson and just goes up and takes the ball and just, I mean, with ease, looked effortless. Didn't seem like it was a huge deal. He had a comeback route that he caused Trent McDuffie to slip on and came back and made the catch. He's creating separation in space in a way that we don't have very many guys on the team to do. And listen, I am trying to temper myself from letting myself get real good and excited and start thinking crazy stuff with Xavier Worthy, because like he's clearly more comfortable and taking this thing up a notch. And we started to see there was a click late in the season. Now, I think it was caused a lot of, there's no Rashee Rice. There's no Hollywood Brown. Hey, man, you got to be the guy. And they had to get creative and find different ways to use him because, they couldn't throw the ball to him past 15 yards for a while. And that, I think, brought his confidence level up, helped him to be able to do more than just go routes as a receiver. And I'm telling you, I don't know what this joker is. Now, I know he's going to make the team. This is different than, Norman Lott and Tyquan Thornton. When I say I don't know what he is, like, I don't know what the ceiling is. I don't know if there's a box that we should put him in. Because I think you really look at it and say, Rashee Rice is going to be this team's number 1 receiver, and this guy is a compliment. He's just showing that he's not a one-trick pony, right? His trick that we thought was going to be the trick, he has not really had success with in the NFL because him and the quarterback and the offensive line don't seem to be on the same page. I mean, he had 600-plus yards last year. He probably easily left 250, 300 on the table because they could not complete passes to one of down the field passes, whether that be him not having his feet right against Tampa or Mahomes leading him out of bounds against Denver or Mahomes leading him out of bounds against Buffalo or, whatever it was. If they just are good or are decent with down the field throws. We've talked about those deep crossers that used to be a hallmark when Tyreek Hill and Demarcus Robinson and them were here. We don't see it. If that gets incorporated back, I don't know, man. He's just he's starting to show that he is more than just, all right, gadget, let's get some jet sweeps, let's do some reverses, let's just go down the field with it. He's doing more than that. You start looking at the end of the year, he caught a go route in the Super Bowl when it was over, but he caught a go route in the Super Bowl. He caught that little option route where he had Hamlin turned around for a touchdown against Buffalo. He went up and took the ball away from multiple people against Buffalo, right? He went up and had a back shoulder catch that led to a field goal against Houston in the playoffs. We started to see him do a lot of different things. A big crosser that he got to get up to set up the game-winning field goal against Buffalo in the AFC Championship game. I just feel like we're starting to see more to Xavier Worthy, and that this ain't just a guy that's going to be potentially a 700-yard receiver next year. Like, this is a guy that might really take this up a notch.
It reminds me a little bit of what we saw from T.Y. Hilton with the Indianapolis Colts.
Ooh, that's a
Smaller
good one.
guy,
Who he could be. That's a good one.
really good speed, and became something more than that, right? Like became a guy that could do more than just your typical fast, deep threat. T.Y. Hilton was somebody that
That's
could
a
take
good
a
one.
slant for 60 yards down the field, and he slips a tackle on the way there, despite his size. He was not an overly big guy, but he had a really nice, like, 6-year stretch where he was, I don't know, a top 15-ish receiver in the NFL for that stretch of time. So that's the name that's been coming to mind as I've been watching the highlights from training camp run is, can he be something similar to what T.Y. Hilton was for those mid 2010s Colts teams, especially when Andrew Luck really kind of came into his own. He was one of the top weapon for Andrew Luck at that point in time. So I've been wondering about that comparison.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I'm trying to figure that. It's hard to try to figure out when you look at his skill set and his body type, like who are the top receivers that mimic that? And I don't really see a lot there. Maybe Garrett Wilson. If you look at that from the Jets, with that, but I think he's more explosive. Again, man, he'd have been pushing 800, 900 yards if they'd have been able to connect down the field. I don't know, man. He is. It's becoming a daily thing that he is making some kind of play. It's becoming a multiple. Like, boy, he went over and did this. He went over and did that. Like, if he can stay healthy, I think that's the big thing.
I really think if Mahomes wasn't so bad at connecting with him on deep balls last season, I think there's a more like elevated narrative around Xavier Worthy, because I think we saw it like in his like profile, like coming out of college, like he wasn't just a speed wide receiver like McCole was for the Chiefs all of those years. Like you could see like he can run some routes. Like he'll go up and get the football. Like he's got a pretty good
the ball well.
Like he's got a good vertical, and he'll go up and snatch a football for somebody his size, even though he's not the biggest wide receiver. And he uses his body well, and he can run routes and get open with his route running ability. And so I think he can really improve in year one, especially if Rashee Rice is out for the first several weeks of the season because he's suspended. Like, I do think we're going to see Xavier Worthy be like a legitimate focal point of the offense, because I think he does have potential to be way more than just a guy that can win deep down the field.
Tyler Lockett's another guy that kind of wins in this way. Also doesn't have great size, but I mean, we've seen this over the years. He's a guy that just never takes hits. He just he gets down. If he's going to go across the middle and he thinks he's about to take a hit, he protects himself. If he's potentially going to take a hit down the sideline, he just gets out of bounds. So he protects himself really well. He's been able to stay healthy because of that. And he's a guy that's been a consistent, 800 to 1,000 yard receiver for basically a decade now in the NFL. So I think if you're looking at what does it look like if it gets to kind of the ceiling, it's those guys. But he also brings something different to the table than either of them, in that he can be involved in the running game. He can be involved in gadget stuff. And those guys were more of like true, legit, like play the offense through them wide receivers. So it almost becomes that plus whatever Xavier Worthy is as a gadget player. So he's got kind of like what you previously were able to experience with the McCole Hardman stuff at the line of scrimmage, along with some of what those two guys that I just mentioned, T.Y. Hilton and Tyler Lockett, bring to the table a little bit further down the field.
He's got a quarterback that is not afraid to throw the ball down the field. Now, they may not connect, but he's got a quarterback that's not afraid to throw the ball down the field, and he has scare the shit out of you speed that you have to respect every single play, which makes all of the other stuff that he can do easier. Again, I don't want to go too crazy on what his numbers can be, because if guys stay healthy, which we hope they do, there's a lot of mouths to feed. Kelsey's going to get his. Hollywood Brown's going to get some. Rashee Rice, especially when he plays, is going to get some. And if it's anything like last year, he's going to get a lot. right? Then, you got the Jujus and you got the running game and other things like that, the Noah Grays. So I'm not going to go crazy and just, predict like, boy, he's got 1,100 yards in him or something. But he's starting to show a lot more. Like, I will say I could go without reading shit like this, though. Speaking of Xavier Worthy, who had a hell of a day in practice today on August 7th. According to our guy, Pete Sweeney, during the next 11-on-11 period, Travis Kelce fought off a defender to make a tough catch. All right, that's cool. Mahomes threw a deep touchdown to who we were just talking about, Xavier Worthy, who had only a step or two on Shamari Connor, but it was a perfectly placed on his back shoulder. But the thing that really gets to me is somehow Shamari Connor ended up in the game, in the slot, in coverage with Xavier Worthy. Because again, with Fulton not practicing, at least practicing on the field, he did some stuff on the side. The Chiefs again went with Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, and then Shamari Connor as the slot guy, as he was matched up against Xavier Worthy. I just like that's a recipe for disaster if he's getting matched up in games with guys like Xavier Worthy, with guys like Zay Flowers coming in week whatever that is, with McConkey in week 1. Like that those are going to be problems, easy places to go. Hell, stare them down if you want to say where you're going. This Shamari Connor thing, and it happens all the time, and it keeps coming back. There are better options. Everybody knows it except for the person who makes the decision on who plays where. I am just over this, and I'm not even 100% sure if Fulton comes back that somehow Shamari won't find himself on the field again. I don't even know. I don't even know. It is just insane. I would use all of my timeouts if Xavier Worthy ended up in the slot against Shamari Connor. Okay. I'm calling all of them. The equivalent of that in a game.
Here's the thing. I think this is where I've arrived, Ron. They don't like any of their cornerbacks not named McDuffie, Fulton, Watson, Shamari Connor. I think that's where we're at. They feel as though they have no depth. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there's no other explanation as to why they would be operating the way that they are currently in camp. There's no other explanation. Because McDuffie is an elite slot defender. We know that. This is not anything new. He's been doing it for multiple years now. His best football has been played out of the slot. He is so freaking good at it. But they don't want to put him there right now because if they do, that means having to start one of Najee Johnson or Noel Williams or Joshua Williams. They don't trust those guys. So instead, they're keeping McDuffie outside, they're keeping Watson outside, and they're putting Shamari Connor into the slot. My one hope here, the saving grace, is that Christian Fulton has not been playing thus far. And when he does get back onto the field and he's back to 100%, I still believe that they will put Trent McDuffie into the slot. And it'll be Fulton and Watson outside with McDuffie in the slot. That's my hope. That is my belief. And I will continue to maintain that belief until proven otherwise. But I think right now what we're seeing will be the plan in the event that either Fulton or Watson get hurt. I think their plan is Shamari Connor is then the fourth corner. He's the guy that would come in that scenario, and you'd keep McDuffie and Watson or McDuffie and Fulton outside with Shamari Connor being in the slot. I don't love that. I don't love the fact that that is their plan, but I think that's why they are operating this way.
Honest to God, how many decision makers do you think over there believe that Shamari Connor as a slot corner in any kind of coverage situations is putting him in the best situation possible for not just him, but for the team? How many people do you think believe in that? Do you think they all believe in that? I don't know how they know.
I don't know, but I think it speaks to the situation at corner right now. And honestly, it makes me think they should They should probably be paying attention to like waiver claims, options that they could add at the end of camp this year, kind of similar to what they did last year with Samaje Perine at the running back position. Because if you don't feel comfortable right now with Noel Williams, and they clearly don't trust Joshua Williams, we learned that last year. Najee Johnson, I mean, we saw that experience a year ago as well. They don't have answers. They don't have options at that position. So if you don't feel good about him and you only go really too deep outside right now, I think they should be in a spot where they're looking to upgrade that spot, that position by the end of camp this year.
Steve Spagnuolo really likes Chris Roland Wallace too. So for whatever that's worth,
I would be more comfortable with him in the slot right now, especially against third and longs. I'd be more comfortable with him than Shamari Connor.
He's certainly a more traditional corner. Like, I don't know why they've just decided this is what's going to happen if Christian Fulton's not in the mix. And then if Fulton's in the mix, I think it makes all the sense in the world. Jalen Watson, Christian Fulton, your boundary corners, McDuffie in his elite slot role. And then you're cooking with your cornerback rotation. But then you're going to have guys mix in here and there. And Shamari Connor can play more safety, which I think is where he's a more serviceable player. But it does feel like it's very thin. Like, it's not where you want to be if it takes those three being available at all times throughout the regular season for you to actually deploy the rotation that you want in your secondary. Because as soon as one of those guys gets a little bit banged up, you're right back to where you were. And that's not where you want to be, but it's where you've been. It's what you've been doing all training camp. So apparently they still believe that's their best rotation for whatever reason when they don't have their full allotment of cornerbacks healthy.
Yeah, it feels like thin by choice to me. I just, obviously, we're not there every day with Joshua Williams, but I'll be damned. Like, we've watched him play.
We've seen him be functional. Like, I don't understand why they hate him so much.
We've watched him play, and we've watched Shamari play. And, it's just, it is clear to me. It is clear. And I'm not going to say Joshua Williams doesn't piss me smooth off, but it is clear who and the defense looks better when he's in there. And you move Trent to the slot and you have him outside. Like, it is clear, as opposed to having a duck out there every single time when Shamari Connor is out there. And that's why I've been telling you, I'm partly serious. They have got to take that bullet away from Steve Spagnuolo. They got to take it away, or he's going to use it. He's going to use that bullet if it is there and available for him. It's like with Dan. I think eventually they had to take that bullet away from him, or he's just going to keep putting Dan in coverage.
So I'm with you on all of this. I would say this though, like, I think that he's a really good defensive coordinator. Talking about Steve Spagnuolo.
Oh, I do.
And if he is of the opinion that Joshua Williams just can't play, there's got to be a reason for it, man. There has to be. He can't just be completely off of his rocker because he has known and has gotten the most out of the cornerback position. That is his spot. There are times where I get annoyed by his preferences at defensive end because he will never play a bendy edge rusher because they have to be able to stop the run. There are times that I get annoyed with him at linebacker because he is exclusively going to play the bigger dude that stops the run. At corner, he's been right. He's been able to get the most out of the least. He's had mostly cheap, young, and cost-controlled guys and guys that are not like top-level picks other than Trent McDuffie, and he's been really good with them. So why is it that he doesn't trust Joshua Williams? There has to be more to this story than what we know publicly, because when I watch him, he seems fine to me. But there's got to be something about like not grasping the playbook, not being good at communication. There's something there that we don't see that doesn't always necessarily show up on the stat sheet, doesn't necessarily show up on the coverage bust, but there's something there that he doesn't trust, and that's preventing him from putting Williams on the field.
Yeah, but maybe there is a sense of a blind spot, because clearly, like, everything you're saying about Joshua Williams, that's fine. But he'll put Roland Wallens in there as the nickel. Like, other whatever, anything else. Like everything you're saying is true. But the other part is he is a great defensive coordinator that watches Shamari Connor just be a clear, easy out for quarterbacks and coordinators. And it is easy. And you see it time and time again that it is not his strong suit in coverage. It's not. And he continues to watch that and continues to do that. So I don't know. Some guys have blind spots. Andy's the greatest coach of his generation, and damn sure he's got blind spots. And so I mean I don't know. Well, we got a little preseason action. Arizona, baby. Let's do this. It's gonna be fun, baby. We back.
You got a prediction?
No, man, I don't give a damn about that. No prediction.
Serda, you got a prediction for this one?
Sir, just put money on it.
I haven't.
It's a 1.5 point spread. Chiefs. Oh,
20.
excuse me. It's moved up to 3. Chiefs a 3-point road favorite in this one. Woo, that's a lot.
Gonna say 24-19 Chiefs.
Ooh, okay. All right. So you're taking the over under set at 39.5 right now, Serda.
Yeah.
I'll go heavily over as well. Give me 27-23. Chiefs win on a walk-off touchdown, actually. The threes end up with a walk-off touchdown in this one.
Who?
It'll actually end up being Elijah Young that runs it in for the Chiefs. The former Mizzou running back gets it in for him.
You're pathetic. Both of you are pathetic. We are out.